Hello, my name is Abhishek Tyagi. Today we are going to discuss Microsoft Azure Text Analysis, which is part of Cognitive Services in Azure. So what we are going to do, what are the features of this service, like broad entity extraction, where it identify important concept in text, including key phrase, named identities such as people, events, and organization. It has really powerful sentiment where based upon the text it does opinion mining of a specific topic. It gives you like whether it's negative sentiment and score you from 0 to 1, and 1 is positive and 0.30 or less is negative, and then in between it's neutral. Then it really there is a new service called question and answering, and it is preview, which you can use to create FAQ and promotion manual. You can create content such as question and answer, and it can work as if FAQ for you, or product manual, blogs, and policies. So and it is there is one more feature which is really good, is it can process unstructured medical data. It has healthcare part of it. So this service, so through which you can process your healthcare data, and like it can extract the insight from an unstructured clinical documents such as doctor notes, electronic health records, and patient intake form. But it is in preview. This service is also in preview. Health feature of text analysis in preview: recognize, classify, and determines a relationship between medical concepts such as diagnosis, symptoms, and dosage and frequency of medication. So these are the main services which this service gives you. So what we are going to do in our scenario is we will see in Logic Apps, we will configure a Twitter of a company. Suppose there is a company which want to see if somebody is discussing something about their company and their policies. They want to extract that text and or tweet from those users and then process them. They want to extract entities and keywords, and then they want to see what was the user intent or opinion about that particular company or policy. And then what you can do, you can put these opinion or keywords or entities into your database. From there you can create this kind of dashboard on your content, like how many people rated it positive, how many were neutral, how many were negative, and how many number of likes, percentage of likes, percentage of dislikes. So all those sort of things you can do on using this text analysis service. And so it is part of AI, so it is really great for you to start AI on your application. And this API, this service has API, so you can leverage them in any kind of solution. You can use Logic Apps, you can use Node.js, you can use .NET, you can use Java, you can use JavaScript. So you have a lot of option, and you can, if you are on Office 365, you can use Microsoft Flow to call this service if some data is being submitted into your Microsoft SharePoint Online list. So you have a lot of options to leverage this API and call this API from different platform and analyze your text, extract entities and keywords, and then use them into your dashboard. So let's see how it works into Azure using. So I'm on Azure Marketplace. There I will go to Analytics and type Azure Text Analytics. So right now there is 3.1 and 3.0 version which is being used. So I normally used 3.0 since it's a stable one, and you have connectors in Logic Apps for that version. So I will create this service using text analytics. Create it. I will click create. I will select whether I want to get, since custom question answering is in preview, it will ask you whether you want to use it, but right now we are not going to demo that. We are just going to demo sentiment, keyword extraction, and all that feature of this service. So let's see, we will choose the resource group. I have resource group created for this particular purpose. I will choose that, and I will give it a name to it, lab text analytics. Then I will choose free tier. It has to be unique, so I will choose, it has to be unique name, so I will choose a unique name. And then I will choose a tier. Free tier also gives you 5,000 call for 30 days, and other plan gives you 10,000 standard, 1,000 calls per minute. So that is more than enough for any company. I'm using free plan, so since it is my Visual Studio Enterprise account, so I will create it, and so I will create a logic app, and in logic app I will choose the resource group. I will then choose logic app, and we are not going to use AS associate with ISC, since that is required if you want to use this logic app inside your network, either virtual network or you have a hybrid environment. There you can use it. I'm not going to enable log analytics as well. I will just click, and I will create my logic app. Once my logic app is created, I will go to visual design. So I will go to my logic app designer. There I will create a trigger action from Twitter, and it is when somebody created tweets on configured Twitter account, authenticated with this with this connector. So I will say Twitter connection, and then I will use default shared application, and it will ask me to log in to my Twitter account. Yeah, so here sorry, it was not prompting me. So here I'm going to put my credentials. I put those credentials. I will be able to authorize my connection with logic app. So it will redirect me on this connection, and you can see it is activated. Now I will go to next step. In next step, when tweet is created, it will ask you what you want to see in a tweet, and how often you want to check them. So I will say happy hour, and since I already added text analysis service earlier, it won't ask me to put my key and endpoint from Azure text analytics. This is analytics service we created, so you have to put them here before you can proceed. Azure Text Analytics have these 5 activities which you can choose. I am choosing sentiment, and then we will configure it. I chose sentiment first, and in sentiment you need to first say document ID, which can be a unique ID, tweet ID, and then text which you want to process. So it can be text of your tweet and language. Same way I will use name entity recognition. So we will see what it will do if I put same ID, and then in document text I can pass text, tweet text in it, and tweet text in it, and language I can choose tweet language. So I will save this logic app and run. I will also create a tweet which contains happy hour time. So I will just post something containing happy hour. So I choose this text and I will tweet it, and it's tweeted. Then I will forcefully run the trigger of this logic app, so we can see quickly what sentiment this tweet, what I have done, and other tweet during that hour which mentioned Twitter happy hour. So let's go to, I have run that in run it trigger, and you can see what there was some tweet on my timeline which mentioned happy hour. This one, if you haven't checked out WFA happy hour, so you can see sentiment of this tweet is neutral, since the score is 0.75 for this tweet. And you can, if you are showing that on a and same way, you can see what this tweet mentioned, like there is a text WFA categories organization and subcategories sports, so it automatically identified that. And since happy hour is part of event and then there is a URL, so it did that automatically. Same way, let's see that sentiment of another tweet. This is my tweet, what I did. Since it was praising of something, it gave 1 score to it and it was positive. And here I'm mentioning restaurant, which is a location, hours is a skill, and I think it fetched only these two named entity. Let's check third tweet also, which it identified on my timeline. So it was like this, and you can see score is 0.82. It's neutral based upon the text, and you see it mentions something Bishop Cadillac, which is person type, so that is the only named entity over here. And I want to show this tweet since it's a negative. So happy Monday, I will be live on Skitly for members only for 1 hour. Don't miss the weekly topless live show. It's funny. And so here you can see it's a name entity is weekly, date, time, and show is event, and sentiment is negative. So since it is related to topless and it mentioned all those comments, so it got a score of 0.06. Anything below 0.30 is negative. So you can take action accordingly and report it or whatever you want to do with that text if you are using some social into your company.